So the service is created successfully. So if I go here, say kubectl git services, and they have a name of the service. It's a node port, and it is listening on this. This is the port on the worker node, and this is inside the worker node, right? So if I go here and take the IP address of worker node and try to access to it. So as you can see, this is the file I have created earlier, right? Now I will show you another thing. I will try to copy my website, this website, right? And to try to update the deployment, right? And I will show you how you can roll back a deployment or roll back an update when you create. For example, I have an application and I have created at the first time version 1 of my application. Then I created another version, is version 2. But there was a mistake in the version 2 and I want to come back or roll back to my version 1. How can I do that? This is what I'm going to show you now. So for that, I will go and copy my website here, right? Go to the worker node, ls, and try to, and I will call it here. I will clone my repo. I'm going to call it web app, right? And web app ls, right? And I will come back here, right? And try to modify something in the deployment by changing the path. We were not working on this path of Ubuntu, home Ubuntu, but we will use this path, home Ubuntu web app. So sudo nano nginx deployment .yaml, right? And here I will change the path. We have home Ubuntu, then web app. This is the same path that we have here, right? Try to, right? And now we have to rerun the deployment again, and when we will run it, it will reconfigure it. So for that, let me rerun the deployment. Sorry, kubectl apply /f nginx deployment .yaml. As you can see, it's configured, right? If we come here now and try to refresh this one, so as you can see, I have a new website. And if I go here and check how much version I have of my deployment, for that I will type this command, rollout history deployment and the name of my deployment nginx. I have 2 versions. Okay, let me show you what's going under the hood when I update a version of my application. So in the deployment, there are 3 types. We have the rollout update, the rolling update, and we have the blue-green deployment, then we have the canary deployment. Here I'm going with the blue-green deployment. And in the next video, I will explain you what is the rolling update and the canary deployment. The blue-green deployment is how it works. At the first time when I create a version of my application, all traffic that's come to the service is redirected to my version 1, right? But when I update my application to version 2, right? Then the replica set, this is the replica set and this is the deployment. The replica set try to create the same number of the path that we have specified in the deployment YAML file, right? And create the first path, the second path, and the third path. And we will see if all the paths are running successfully. If all of them are running successfully, then the service will change the traffic from this old version to the new version. For the canary deployment, what's going on is the replica set will create the first path, right, of the first path, right? Then the traffic will be separated. For example, at the first time there will be 100% of traffic goes to the version 1. But in the canary deployment, once the pod is created, then the traffic is separated. Now it will be, for example, 10% of the traffic is go to version 2, and the remaining percent is going to the version 1. And when the second pod is created, then 50% of traffic goes to the version 2 and 50% of the traffic goes for the version 1, right? So if I tried now to roll back to go to the version 1, what should I do? I should to type this command, kubectl rollout undo deployment my nginx, right? And if I come back here and try to refresh, yes, as you can see, we come back to the previous version. The service is very useful. Why? Because the paths, the IP address of the paths are ephemeral. When I create a new path, the path will be created with a new IP address. So if there was no service, right, when I will create a new path, so the node part, this node port, we will not know the IP address of this path. So that is why a service is created. No matters what IP address this path having, this service only is pointed to it and always route traffic to it. Even if it is changing, even if the path changing its IP address. So don't forget to terminate the instance so you don't be in the charge of that. So terminate instance, and if we come back here and try to refresh, right, it will not work because the nodes are terminated. So thank you for your watching, and don't forget to subscribe and make like if you like videos, and thank you for your watching.